success. I think it is a fantastic success. The limiting thing is the actual bogies, because the bogies, the wheel sets, are expensive, and until the third party starts making those, because they're making monorail track now. There's companies out there that are making all sorts of monorail track, which is fantastic. I do not have any of that, but I'm so happy they're doing it, because it reinvigorates the monorail part of this Lego hobby. I think they actually have motors too. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I'm glad to see monorail is continuing. I think that having monorail. I'm going to click on that for a sec. Having monorail continue is a fantastic thing, and if it's a third-party thing because Lego didn't want it anymore, again, I fully understand that. I do not shake my fist in the general direction of the Lego company for that. They do change things. I'm glad I was born when I was born. I'm glad I got to buy the set off the shelf when I was 20 and I had disposable income. And I'm glad I got to continue with it, buying the accessory packs and buying lots of garage sale lots, and then going on eBay before it got stupid expensive, and buying tons of monorail, and my buddy Mike selling me monorail for cheap. Even my friend over at the Brick Shack a while back, in appreciation of me putting my layout there for a few months on display, he gave me monorail. so I happen to have enough monorail to last me the rest of my life, and I'm happy with what I got. Although some of my stuff is really, really yellowed, and I keep on meaning to do the retro bright, but now you can get the third-party stuff, so you don't have to wait for the Lego company to reproduce these things, and don't have to wait for eBay for finding a lot that's cheap, because you're not. I still check occasionally on eBay for monorail lots, and it's still stupid expensive. It is like really outrageously expensive. So third party, I don't know what the costs are. If you want monorail in limited or whatever, there are third party people who are making third party printed, 3D printed monorail track. And it's not just the original monorail. They have the alternate curves and alternate switches, and just a wonderful, wonderful time to be in the monorail theme for fans, because the fans are making stuff for it. So there's enough of a want out there for somebody to come up with this stuff, and I'm happy for it. I am very, very limited in time, space, and money. So I am not getting any of that. I would have to make bigger layouts, and I'm not interested in making bigger layouts at this point. I'm actually thinking I'm going to be doing a few shows without the layout, because it's like I am at that age now that it is tough to bring that and set it up and take it down and whatever. It's a lot of work and effort, and I'm getting old. So, but I do plan on doing at least 3 shows this year. They're already booked. I'm doing Anime North the weekend after a long weekend in May. So the May 2-4 weekend, the weekend after, I'll be in Toronto. I hope to see anybody watching this there, if you're in the area. I'm doing Bricks in the 6 in, I think, November again. And we are going to Brickomania in Montreal, Etienne's show. I believe he is... been appreciated by my friend David, so I have no problem doing Etienne's show. If David had a problem with it, I wouldn't go because David's my friend. But I think David gave Etienne his blessing, and I'm going to be doing that show in August. So I'll be in La Belle Provence in August, and with this layout, and I will be at Bricks in 6 in Toronto in November. We missed Niagara Falls Comic Con last weekend or weekend before, or maybe coming up, unfortunately, because we didn't have enough people responding from the group who wanted to do it. I understand people have lives and families and whatever. It was a fantastic show last year, Niagara Falls Comic Con, and it's down the street for us, and we could sleep at home. That's one of my limiting factors for doing shows, is the cost of the hotel room. I can't justify it. It's not that anything else beyond the fact that it's expensive for the weekend, and I know I'm a fan. I love being a fan, but It's exhausting, and I have to pay. so, so, so I don't mind doing the conventions because I get to partake in the convention. But doing a show where I have to rent a room for the weekend to do Niagara Falls Comic Con or Toronto Comic Con or whatever. And it always was on weekends where it's stupid busy, so the room rate goes stupid skyrocketing up. I just, if it's close enough I can drive home, I'm going to do that show. When we did Niagara Falls Comic Con, the first night, Friday night to Saturday, I came home because it's 30 minutes down the road. Sandy rented the room for Saturday night, Sunday, so they could go into Niagara Falls and have a good time on Sunday. Well, I did the show, and they came back and they enjoyed the show, so it was fine. I don't mind one night, but we're talking usually 3 nights in a hotel at least $200, almost now $300 a night. I said, oh my goodness, I don't get sponsored. And I don't, and again, to be clear, I don't want to be sponsored. That's why I'm going out of my way. I put no effort to not get sponsored. I do not go out of my way not to be sponsored. Nobody's going to sponsor me, but I do not want to be sponsored. I don't want a Patreon. I do not want people sending me money. I don't want any kind of thing that make me feel obligated that I have to do something for them. This is friends. This is friends hanging out. That's all I want this to be. That's all I've ever wanted this to be. I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to be any of that. I just want to, hey, I'm going to make a video today and sometimes not make a video for 3 weeks. That's who I want to be. This is my time. This is my hobby. This is my love. This is my appreciation. If it's yours, you can come along with me. I keep on reinforcing this because I keep on getting emails. If you want to walk beside me, I love the company. But I'm not going to kowtow. I'm not going to I'm not going to rearrange my life for this specifically. This is a part of my life that I want to do when I want to do it. And so I love my friends who come up to me and say, Dave, loved your last video, blah, blah, blah. I have some really good friends now that I've never met in real life, but they're really sweet and kind and considerate. But I've had a few DMs and whatever. Oh, you have to do more. No, I don't. No, I don't. If you have a suggestion, hey, Dave, talk about this. Sure. I'd love to. But if I don't talk about it, it's not a slight on you. I've had a few people that were polite who said, oh, can you talk about something? And I'm going, I'm not remotely interested in talking about that. I'm not remotely interested. So no, and I don't want to call them out. And I don't want them to feel like they're being disparaged. I want people to be communicative with me if they want to be. I mentioned that before. If you want to be communicative with me, I'm everywhere. I'm on the TikToks. I'm on the YouTubes. I'm on Instagram, which I never check. I'm on Facebook. And I don't hide myself. Doxing me, people have threatened to dox me. Are you kidding me? Okay. Anybody who threatens to dox me, I've been on the internet since the internet started, because the internet started back in 1957. I wasn't born yet. But even before the internet became mainstream, I was going on BBSs back on my Commodore 64 days. I was going on BBSs. And it's my name or Sparky. Sparky 1701. I've been putting my name out there since 1984. I've been on YouTube. I've been on YouTube 6 months after YouTube started. I'm not one of these big, huge people. I have 1,000,001 followers. I have 1,000. Perfect. But so I got a threat the other day. Oh, Dave, you're going to stop. Or they were actually being very disparaging. And that's why this little rant's happening right now. And threatening to expose me. And I'm going, what are you talking about? Expose me? I'm a Lego fan, dude. Like, if you haven't gotten the idea that I'm a Lego fan yet, I don't know. I know you talk about some other stuff too, and I'm going, you are, and I just blocked him. Come at me, bro. Like, honest to God, come at me. Sandy and I were talking about this the other day, and we like the romance / mystery novels, and there was a person who was being blackmailed because she had a torrid past. And I'm going, what? If somebody came up to me and they found something that made my past torrid, even though I know what my past is, and it's the complete opposite of torrid. I was going to church every week back then. Not to say that, actually, never forget all that conversation. But no, there's the only dirt somebody would have on me is that I love Lego. Like, he's a 57-year-old person who loves playing with Lego. Yes, I do. Um, and I've made some embarrassing choices in my life. That's my personal cross to bear. I've made some bad choices when it comes to not breaking up with people earlier than I should have. And that's not a slight on them. That's a slight on me, not having the courage of my convictions to say, you're a wonderful person, but I shouldn't be in this relationship. I feel bad about that. I do have regrets. I mentioned this before a long time ago about regrets. I don't have regrets that burden me down with like the burden of regret, but I do feel that I could have been more of a person who did the right thing at the right time instead of just letting it coast. And I do feel bad about that for certain people in my life, in my past, because they deserve better. And again, that's from me to them, not from me to the public. So again, go screw yourself if you're coming at me. Go screw yourself. Like, honestly, God, we had neighbors next door. We had neighbors next door who were the most malcontent, malfeasant people I've ever met on the planet, who've slinged, like, again, I've been through slings and arrows. I've been through insults and threats. I've been through, like, there's nothing anybody else on the internet can come at me that's going to be worse than what they came to, that they tried to stick on us over the 8 years of hell that we lived next to. And so anybody out there trying to come at me, I'm going to laugh in your face. I'm going to laugh. And if you try to just insult me because I'm a 57, 58-year-old Lego fan and Legos for kids, again, go screw yourself. You can come at me all you want. Like, I ain't stopping. I will never stop. And anybody who comes at me already proves my point that you're just a vacuous hack. Like, it's, I get, so this shouldn't have been going into this kind of tangent, but with the political atmosphere that we have today, and the lack of nuance and the lack of appreciation, the lack of critical thinking, the lack of looking at the history of what's going on in context to what's actually being said, and the lack of transparency. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of moving parts going on. And so we have to, and the chat GBTs and the Russian influences and all that. Like, there's so much crap out there. And I am trying to take a step back because it just gets me bogged down. My dad told me that years ago because he's the same way. He used to get his angst up when it comes to political talk because why can't people see? Why can't people see the blatant obviousness of the situation? But they've adhered, or they bought into the echo chamber of no thought and all vitriol. That I have what my dad has exactly. It's like, it's disgusting how much the apple doesn't fall from the tree. I start feeling it inside, the tenseness of my chest when I start getting into this stuff. And so I'm getting older now, and tenseness should not happen in my chest. so I am. My other thing, the cavalier attitude that I've honed over many decades, whatever, brilliant plan well executed, to bring it back to that, I'm trying to bring that part of me out more instead of getting all angsty, because again, I've talked about this numerous times in my life, that I've lived for 58 years now, 56 of them semi-consciously. So I paid attention a little bit. I have pontificated a little bit, that no matter what happens, yes, it's hell on earth. Again, I have examples of that. But this too shall pass. I'm not going to be all philosophical and all fluffy, Uncle Fluffy here. The chips are going to fall where the chips are going to fall, and we have to make the best of it. Like, we have to. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. You probably already know who I'm going to vote for. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. I'm not going to say that the other guy is a piece of trash, because he is. But I'm not going to say that. He's just a vacuous hack, because he is. But if you feel he's not, then all the power to you, and go for him. You are not going to limit my friendship towards you if you are a person who supports the other side. It's politics. I've had people from all spectrums, all walks of life, all whatever. It doesn't matter to me. All religions, doesn't matter to me. If you're treating me nicely and I'm treating you nicely, that's all that matters to me. So in the end, whatever happens after the April election, we're still going to be here. What I'm hoping for myself, and I'm trying to make this as neutral as possible, if the other people win, that it will be, I said this about the US stuff, is that it's been blatantly obvious over the past, since Reagan, it's been blatantly obvious that people have lost the appreciation of nuance, of critical thinking, of appreciation of bigger pictures. They become one-issue voters. Whoever screams the loudest, whoever's shaking their fist the loudest, whoever's making their point, even though it's fallacious or ignorant, doesn't matter. Oh, I'm going to follow them. Or if they're feeling like ignored, because again, I feel ignored like literally all the time. And that's okay because I do go on. But I'm used to feeling ignored. I'm absolutely used to it my entire life. Not that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying I'm ignored. I've had a beautiful life. I keep on mentioning that. But, oh, that's just Dave. I've heard this how many times in my life. Oh, that's just Dave. That's Dave going on about whatever Dave's going on about. Fine. Again, whatever I'm going on about. Right here. It doesn't. The sun's still going to come up tomorrow. The sun's, this too shall pass. And I said, my only hope right now is that, I have lots of hope, but my hope right now is that if the other side wins, and people are celebrating, and wow, look what we got, we finally changed the hands of power, and it's gonna be all sunshine and rainbows tomorrow. I can guarantee, because this happens every single time the government changes people, the incumbent who has preaching and pontificating and pounding his pulpit all the time about how bad those previous people were and blah, 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 and you're going to get me in there and I'm going to make your life sunshine and rainbows. Never has happened. Literally ever. And the very first thing is, oh, I didn't know how bad it was in here. We're going to have to take months to fix this. We're going to have to change the laws and blah, 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 and procedures and blah, blah. And then 6 months goes by, nothing's happened. And we're still in exactly the same ballpark that we were in before the election. We're going to be, doesn't matter who's running it. There have been data points that demonstrate that in my life, one politician, two politicians, and they were both conservative politicians, by the way, who one I voted for but didn't respect, and one I didn't get to vote for but I do respect. Mike Harris, I voted for him. Straight up, I mentioned that before. He was saying X, Y, and Z, and I liked X and Y for my life. So I voted for him. The Z part, not good. Of which we are still recuperating from. Tony, oh, for crying out loud. All of a sudden his name just, Tony, not Tony Layton. That's my other buddy. The Premier of Ontario, just a fantastic guy. Listen to his talk show. It doesn't matter. Loved him. This is the second thing that goes to his memory. Loved him. I listened to his talk show after he stepped off being premier and went off. And then what brought him down, because he was the mayor, after the fiascos of previous mayors. Again, I don't want to, because Canadians don't get all their knickers in a knot over sexual whatever indiscretions. Canadians don't do that. Although the other people keep on trying to make this into a case. Although he's having his little thing about the people on the left or whatever, but they never seem to take into account that people on the right have been caught in the most absurdly even in my whatever non-prude ways, the most disgusting and vile contacts. But Tony, for crying out loud, it's not Tony Layton. It's not Tony Blair. It's probably not even Tony. But, he said what he was going to do. He said he listened to a lot of people. He tried to come to consensus to move forward as a PC, and he was a man of integrity. Oh, but he had an affair. Forget the affair. That's his personal proclivities. Is it right? I'm not in the wedding. I'm not in the marriage. I'm not behind those closed doors. What he was doing in the public office, he was going for consensus, and he said, what is best for today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 4 years from now, 8 years from now. He's the one that actually originally said we should get an omnibus group to take care of the infrastructure of Ontario. I remember him talking about this ad nauseum. The infrastructure of Ontario should not be beholden to a specific party, either municipal, provincial, or federal. It should not be beholden to the party in charge that day, because what happens, and it's always driven to this day, and I can let it go, is that there was a subway expansion. I don't know how many decades ago, there was a subway expansion that one party was doing in Toronto to expand the subway, and they actually had it partially built. The tunnel was made to the next stop and the next stop, and it was continuing on. Then they got out of power, and the next party filled it, so lost money both sides, because the money to make it and the money to fill it in, because they said, oh, we're not doing subways. And then the doofus that sadly passed away, subway, like sloganeering. But I'm going, if there was an omnibus group taking care of the infrastructure, that wouldn't have happened. This was needed, it was voted on, and it was needed, and we're putting it in. And I don't care what the next party says, it's still needed. Our infrastructure is 40 years behind what Ontario needs right now, because it's every single time we have to change parties, and they cancel everything that happened before, all the millions of dollars that went into planning and putting shovels in the ground. Nope, cancel that, we're going to go this way. And it's like the LRT, oh my goodness, this is much. The Red Hill Creek Expressway in my own backyard, like it's 2 valleys over for me. The Red Hill Creek Expressway was on the books in the 60s. The Red Hill Valley Expressway, the RHVP, I always forget the acronym, was on the books in the early 60s. And they did not put shovels in the ground until the 90s, 2000s actually, because I was living here in 2004, and it wasn't there yet. It's like, oh my God, that's 40 years of pontificating and money being wasted in surveys and minutes and meetings and blah, blah, blah. Like the reason why, and they're talking about expanding it now. I just heard on the radio last week, they're talking about expanding the Red Hill Creek Expressway and the link going to the 403 from 2 lanes to 3 lanes. It's been around since 2000, whatever. Sandy was living here, and Jeff and Jen were next door. That's when they put that in there. So this is like 2008 or whatever. So it's only been there for 15 years, 20 years maybe. And now they have to expand it. Like, why didn't you do that in the first place? Oh, we're cutting down too many trees. For the love of Christ. I get the not cutting down trees. I'm an environmentalist. I want to save the planet. But I also want people not to sit in their cars for 8 hours guzzling gas and putting that, oh, I gotta get out your cars. Go stop. We are living in a society that is dependent, reliant, and we're not going to get them unreliant by making them sit in traffic. Oh my God. Anyway, this is where the chest gets tight. So I'm a huge socialist. on the public level, I'm a huge socialist. The hospitals and our education system should be the top of the pyramid. Healthcare and education should be the #1 priority. Period. The end. Full stop. And not dependent on the current government as to what's being taught. If anybody ever mentions intelligent design again, get the heck out of the conference room. If anyone talks about how we should be teaching the Bible in classrooms, get out, unless you want to have a religion class, and that's perfectly acceptable. I went to a Christian university. And I loved my experience there. I loved the people there. I loved my time there. I loved my studies there. I would never, ever, ever once say that school should not exist. And I would never, ever say, this is why I voted for Harris, I would never, ever say that they cannot give out BAs and BScs. That was stupid to say they had to BA with an asterisk. That was stupid. It was absolutely ridiculous. We are getting the same education there that anybody got at McMaster or Mohawk College. It's exactly the same, except we had religious studies on top, which is perfectly acceptable. If people want religious studies, they go there, and it's fantastic, and I support them to the end of time, to my last breath. It has to be that way. But if you're going into the public school system and saying, thankfully, hopefully it doesn't happen in Canada, but they're talking about the States, and you start preaching the Bible from the classroom teacher, they have to start putting the 10 Commandments in the classroom. Thankfully, I grew up in Canada. We never had that. We did have the Lord's Prayer after the old Canada in the morning until grade 3 or 4, and then that stopped. There was a moment of silence. So Canadians, once again, lead the pack in doing the right thing on this kind of stuff. But if we go back into the 1950s, Leave It to Beaver, not to go with the West Wing, ideas of how we should run our public discourse, our public sphere, our schools and healthcare, you guys are just leave the room. You're not worth to be in a room where we're trying to make what's best for going forward for the entire society. You can have your churches, you can have your whatever, your beliefs, all of it. You keep it in your house, keep it in your church. Do not push it into law. Do not push it into education. Do not push it into the public sphere. It's your personal God. Keep them personal. Keep them personal. I'm not sure what I am right now. I am honestly not sure. I don't think I'm an atheist. I said I was a few times in my life. But I don't think I am. Although, again, logically I am, because logically it's the only thing that makes sense. But I cannot, and I don't think I ever will, give up the idea that there isn't at least a deist thing going on. But I'll tell you, the fact that the evangelicals in the States and even the ones up here now are pushing to put their beliefs enshrined into public law really, really annoys me. I'm going to talk about one thing before we wrap this up, even though I've gone on now for 49 minutes. What I've heard this week, and it absolutely terrifies me because, and it's not for me, because again, I'm going to be retiring soon, and I'm going to be sitting in a trailer going across the country, like harassing provincial parks and stuff. I'm going to be done with my job. I've had my kids. I don't have any girls directly that I have to worry about. Although all my friends' kids are mostly girls. so a lot of girls out there that they have to worry about. So I worry about it on behalf of them. Is that Pierre Poilievre said this week, and I quote, is that abortion's not going to be brought up. It's not going to come up at all if I get to be prime minister. And that is the biggest load of utter, and again, if you have any critical thinking thought whatsoever, you already know that's garbage. You already know it's garbage. You already know. If you have any sense of history, if you have any sense of what happened before, if you have any sense of what's going on now, you know that's utter vacuous garbage that he's trying to get the votes for the people who are pro-life or pro-choice. Because this is what happens. Stephen Harper was a micromanager. And again, I didn't mind the guy overall. But he said when the private members bill started coming up from his own party, he kiboshed him right then and there because he didn't want it. And he made that very, very clear. And yet I remember a few times a private members bill would come up and he said, nope, that's it. We're cutting this off. Pierre Poilievre is on record from before as being staunchly pro-life. But not only that, but in the last election in the States, it was run on Roe v. Wade right up until the election day. Roe v. Wade would not be touched at all. Roe v. Wade would not be touched. Okay, I'm talking about the previous election. When Trump got in. Would not be touched. Would not be touched at all. And what happened? What happened on the right? They got their power and they did whatever they wanted. And that's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah, I know. So I'm going to leave it there because I have to go have a life and I don't want to get my chest all tightened. I am not losing sleep over this election. I'm not. I will not. I will not let that happen. I am consciously saying, no, I will not. And again, if Polyev wins, have at it, dude. You're not going to fix the thing. I know what's going to happen. I'm pontificating. I'm prognosticating. I'm going to be a prophet now. I know exactly what's going to happen if he wins. But it's the same thing that happened when Mike Harris won. Stuff happened that was good. Stuff happened that was bad. Right? So that's what's going to happen. My hope is that if he does win, that the people after the whatever business he messes up, people will start critically thinking again and saying, my vote actually matters. Because people, oh, my vote doesn't matter. I think that's also a huge problem. My vote doesn't matter. And I'm going, it really does. But also accepting what happens if whoever wins that you didn't want to win wins. I mean, we can't keep on getting all this vicious circular angriness at the other side all the time. Because it just gets worse. Every single election, it gets worse. This is the most important election of our time. I've heard that 17 years now. The most important, and this one is, but it's the most important election. And I can't keep on this roller coaster ride of ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. Because then that's the story all the time, is the ups and downs, instead of like looking at the future and just thinking about what we're going to do to make it better. Because we're so busy trying to fix messes and reduce the anger and the vitriol and whatever. So I am not resigned to Pierre winning, but if he wins, it's going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. I'm absolutely going to be fine. And so are you. And so are you. Unless you're a woman, and so are you. I joke about it, but it's like screaming in my head, like whatever. But again, we have to be better next time. We have to give, I sent a text because I got, are you going to vote for your? Absolutely not. We have to get better at making the case of who to vote for and not who to vote against. That's the other big, huge thing, is Pierre's entire platform as far as why we shouldn't vote for the other guys. When he started yapping about it years ago, liberals bad. And then we got carbon tax Carney and Trudeau and F Trudeau and all that stuff. Like, you've never given me one reason, not one valid, sound, logical, cogent, evidence-based reason to vote for Pierre. All I've ever heard is because he's not Trudeau, and now he's not Connery, and we need to change. What are you talking about? Oh, we're in so much debt everywhere in the world. It's exactly the same thing. Oh, he limited my freedoms. No, he didn't. Not once did Trudeau limit anybody's freedoms. The healthcare, that's provincial. Like, every single thing that they spew out has been debunked thoroughly, and yet it keeps on coming up, like the cat with 9 lives. It keeps on coming up, and then going, are you guys paying attention? I don't like any. Well, I like Carney more than anybody right now. But up until Carney got in there, I didn't like any of them. I thought they're all a bunch of feckless, useless hacks who just want their political career. They weren't thinking about Canadians. That's my whole thing. They never thought about. Didn't feel like they're thinking about me or my friends or my plights of my friends. They seem to be. Oh, we want the power to make vast whatever. Nothing in anybody's platform was about the person. The people of Canada. It's all about making the other guys seem bad and whatever. I'm going, whatever. That's it. That's all. I'm already 56 minutes into this. I'm going to maybe separate this video because I went off in this and I just want to talk about that. So I'm going to try to figure out how to edit that on my phone and edit all that and break it into 2 so you guys don't get the tirade with the Lego. And that's it. That's all. I don't know how much more I'm going to be able to do on this one. I think I'm going to pack it up. I still have a room to clean up and stuff to sort. So, but I wanted to get this out of my head into reality. And there it is. I'm probably going to put it in a box because I don't need these parts for a show. So I'm going to probably put this whole thing into a box, the Renegade into a box with Monorail, and see if I'm going to revisit it in the future. And if I do, I'm sure you'll know. So everybody out there, stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.